I decided to do a thing which is gonna die. I know it is. But I'm gonna try it anyways. It's vlog every day in October, but I know I'm not gonna succeed. So instead of vlog every day in October, it's vlog as much as you can in October. So it's not Vito, it's actually the Makio? Vito sounds better, but I know I'm not gonna do every day.
In the fast lane, someone in the crowd could be the one you need to know. The one to finally lift you off the ground.
What up, Ponders? It's your girl RP here and welcome to a new video. Now today, this video is done in collaboration with Ellie Rose Larkin. She's a really cool YouTuber who you should definitely go check out. She also did some funny stories from school, so if you want to hear more of these kind of things, you can go check out her video and her channel, link in the description below. So with that out of the way, let's get into the video. Now, I'm in school, year 10 in school, which means, based on how the Australian school system works, I've had 11 years of schooling. That's a lot of years. Oh my god, in 2 years I'm out of high school. I'm fine, it's fine. Don't worry about it. I'm not having an existential crisis. It's fine. So yeah, I have 11 years of schooling, which means I have quite a few stories from school to talk about. But I'm only going to talk about high school stories just because they're easier, I guess. And also because I don't remember most of my primary school stories very well without really thinking about it. And I don't have time to really think about it. I'm doing this really quickly. But yeah, so I have 3 stories from my high school experience so far. The first story is called Rocks. Just rocks, that's all it is. Yeah. So I had this... Okay, so for this you need a bit of context. In year 7, I went to a virtual school for English, Maths and Science. I was still in a mainstream school for all the other subjects, but English, Maths and Science, I was in a virtual classroom. So, the 4 of us in year 7 who were in that program, and the 6 or 8 year 8s who were in the program, were all in this room together most, probably about half the time we were in school. So, so it was probably the first 4 weeks of, no, first 3 weeks. I'm going with 3 weeks, I'm probably wrong, but 3 weeks sounds right. It was about the first 3 weeks of this program, and I hadn't really super befriended the girl in the class with me because there's only one other girl in our year level in this classroom. There were just 2 boys. Actually no, at this point there was only 1 guy. The second guy came in halfway through this time. So there's 1 guy and this other girl, and that was all there was in my year level in the classroom. And I kind of didn't like the guy. I still don't like the guy. He never redeemed himself in my eyes. He was just kind of an idiot. But the girl and I were acquaintances. We were kind of in the same... Were we in the same friendship group? We weren't in a friendship group at that point. Never mind. But basically, that night, we were going to have a thing called the resident, res, which is when res camp or residential, whatever, where all the people from the virtual school come in to, thankfully, my town, not someone else's town, but my town, and they stayed for camp for 3 days, and it was always really fun, and the food was always awful, but it was a great experience to make friends in the group, so that was cool. Coolio. But anyways, this girl and I didn't really talk a lot in class. I think we were friends in other classes, but only because we were there. We didn't really talk much, we were just friends out of easiness. Or friends out of... yeah, easiness makes sense. So this girl and I are friends out of easiness, and we haven't talked much. And then we were doing some kind of quiz or something about the Hunger Games, which was our class topic. I'm sitting here, she's sitting there, she's doing the quiz. She clicks on one of the photos of the quiz, because it's one of those click on the photo and answer the question thing, and it has a boulder on it, and she was like, rock, or rocks, or something, and I was like, yep, that's a rock, and I was like, what is she saying? And then she kept doing it. She kept clicking on all the questions which had rocks in the picture, and then when she ran out of rocks, she just kept clicking on photos, but kept saying rocks. And like, I don't know what was going through my head at that point, but I do know I found it hilarious. And I started to join in. So soon, the two of us are just clicking on our individual like quiz thing and going, rocks, 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 haha, rocks, oh my god, rocks. And we bonded over this weird quiz rock thing, I guess. But it got... that night at the res camp, we meet each other again at the res camp, and I was prepared for it to be awkward. She's bouncing on it and I'm bouncing on it, and we're kind of across the way on this big trampoline. You know those trampoline bouncing things? I might find a photo, I might not, who knows. But I was bouncing on a thing. She was on one end, I was on the other. It wasn't a big thing. You could talk to someone from the other end. And she yells out, rocks! And I'm like, rocks! And then we come closer and we start talking. But we just keep saying rocks. Just instead of words, just rocks. And then she said something or I said something and one of us said it, but we then said, don't forget about the pebbles. And then rocks and don't forget about the pebbles became a thing that we would say. We kept doing it that weekend. I mean that, like, camp thing. And then we kept doing it when we got back from camp. And then for the rest of year 7, we would say rocks and don't forget about the pebbles. And it was an inside joke. And it was the first ever inside joke I was ever involved in. So it was really cool for me, okay guys? I know this story makes no sense. But damn, that was a fun time to be me. So my second story comes after that story when I moved to a new school for year 8. My year 8 started probably on January 30th, I think, or 31st. I don't think it started on February 1st, but it was like just a day or two before February 1st. That school started that day. So, that's how short of a time period it took for this next story to unfold. So there were like 2 groups of girls in my year 8 class. There were the girls who were the very stereotypical popular girls. The other group is the friendship group I eventually ended up joining, not long after this, but still eventually joined them. I hadn't joined them properly at this point. That's what's important. So there are a few of them, and they all but like one of them were in my Italian class. So that's also very important. But yeah, so these girls kind of accepted me into their little corner of procrastination. And I was like, okay, cool, fine. I guess I will hang out with the procrastination group. That's what I was probably going to do anyways. And at least I have people to talk to awkwardly. Because at this point it was awkward small talk levels of friendship where you're like, yep, cool, great. That kind of stuff. The point is, I'd been at school for approximately 2 weeks when this next story took place. So there I was, sitting in Italian, procrastinating, doing work, and in walks the Valentines serenading people. Yep, my school has a Valentine's Day thing where people walk around giving love letters and serenading. You could pay to get your love letter and your serenade brought in, and someone will do it to you. And someone will do it to whoever you request, which was fun, I guess. It's a great way to tell someone you like them, I'm sure. What my friends used it, or my friends at that point used it was to prank the new girl. Yep, I was at school for 2 weeks when I received a serenade. So they serenade me, give me a letter. I'm looking at this letter and I'm like, who's called Bob Dougal? I've never heard of Bob Dougal before in my life. And the girls next to me start laughing and I'm like, do you know Bob Dougal? And they're like, yeah, we made up Bob Dougal. It's a prank. And I was like, oh, cool. And weirdly, in my mind, that was the point where I was like, yep, I'm now part of this friendship group. Awesome. So instead of taking that as a weird, hey, isn't it a bit odd you pranked the new girl 2 weeks after she showed up? I was like, they've accepted me into their group. And then I hung out with them for the rest of my life, basically, so far. So, that if you ever want to become friends with someone, just prank them. Just get someone to serenade them on Valentine's Day and write your name as Bob Dougal. Don't know where they got the name Bob Dougal. I've never really questioned it. I guess they just made it up. But they do it every year. Every year there has been a few Valentine's things thrown around the group at that point. It's always super fun to embarrass your friends in class, wouldn't you say? Now the next thing happened in the orientation week leading up to Year 9. Now in Year 9 I was taken from the mainstream classroom into the smart class, or the advanced class, or the SEAL, whatever you want to call it, class, okay? This happened in the orientation week. Now, I had one friend in this class so far. His name was Finn. He was part of the friendship group that I had made in Year 8. And I was like, oh, what do I do? I don't know anyone except Finn, and Finn and I aren't very close at this point, to let you know. He's now my best friend, but at this point, we'd had maybe 3 conversations. I was nervous. But Finn turned out to be a really nice guy, except for one thing he did. In which, in the first lesson of English, or second lesson of English in this orientation week, he takes my laptop. Our school provide, like, you have to buy these laptops, like you have to, you can't, you don't have a choice, you have to have this laptop. And he takes it, and he does that thing where you press a bunch of keys, and then it flips the screen. You know the thing, I'm sure. I feel like most people do. And he flipped my screen sideways. I didn't know how to fix this whole flipped screen thing. So I'm sitting here in English class, desperately trying to do my work like this. I eventually decide, you know what, and just turn my computer like this so I can read it. Like, it goes from here to here. In class, in orientation week, I now look like the weirdo who flips her computer for no reason. But basically, Finn did that in orientation week, and I was like, boy, you suck. But it was fine. He eventually showed me how to do it, but I had not paid attention, so he did it again, this time upside down. I was like, boy. So I forced him to do it and fix it, and then I paid attention this time. So when he does it again, because he's Finn, I fix it, and I'm like, huh, never do that again. And then like 2 months later he does it again and I've forgotten how to fix it. But that was the time when someone completely embarrassed me in front of my class. But yeah, the moral of the story is, even if someone acts like a dick, give them a second chance and they might become your best friend. So yeah, what were the morals? Moral of story 1, give people a chance. Moral of story 2, all of these are just give people a chance. Their actions may seem weird or even embarrassing, but they will actually become your best friends. Yep. I'm not sure what I'm calling this. Am I calling these embarrassing stories or funny or just school stories? I think I'm just going to call these school stories and you can decide if they're funny or embarrassing or just weird. I think most of these are weird. So yeah, if you guys like this video, make sure to leave it to give a like and to comment and to subscribe to my YouTube channel if you would like to. That would mean a lot. And yeah, I guess that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to check out Ellie. And yeah, that's it. Okay. Bye.
You've got the invitation, you've got the right address.
You need some medication?
The answer's always yes.